Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My girlfriend and I recently just went on a trip and we picked up these two pen blanks down here, and I'm actually going to be making something a little bit different with them. Instead of a pen, I'm going to be making a pencil. And this is the same style. This is a Slimline pencil kit, and I got these from Penn State Woodworking. This is a great place to go and get all of your wood turning kits, supplies, tools, etc. They have everything for a great price. Not sponsored by them, but I love them. I get entirely too much stuff there. So I have me a camo blank, and my girlfriend has this nice blue blank. So for a pencil, they're a lot like a Slimline pen kit. You have your two 7mm barrels here. We'll need to scratch these up with like 120, 150 grit sandpaper. You have the pencil itself, all the actual inner workings of the mechanical pencil here. You have, if this thing will ever stay here without rolling away again, this is the barrel that connects the two halves. This pencil does not come apart like a Slimline pen does. You assemble the bottom half and the upper half and then pinch the two together. And then the pencil itself will slide down through the tubes with your blanks on them, and then the cap will screw on here, and that will lock the whole thing together. And you have, of course, the cap that goes on and covers up the eraser and is also the clicker for the end of the pencil. So when you get them, everything will be in a bag like this, and it's all separated together. And since this is just a brief overview of all the parts and everything, the next time you see these will be over on the lathe. I'm going to go ahead and start marking out the barrels on my blanks and get them cut to length, and I'll see you at the lathe. Alright guys, I actually lied to you. The next place we'll see you at is over here at the drill press. This is my 20-inch Powermatic Model 1200, and this has been a beast of a machine. It was an awesome restoration. Go back and check out the video of that. It's not an actual video, more of a slideshow, because that was way back, like probably 2 years ago, before I actually started making videos. So I have a blank in here in this vise. It's actually already centered up, ready to go. So I'm going to fire this up and start drilling it out. This is an acrylic blank, and we're going to treat it just like it's a piece of wood. I'll start off real slow and just feed it nice and evenly. And the thing with acrylics are, you don't want to hold the drill bit in there too long, because acrylics are basically plastic and they will melt. And you do not want the hole to melt and wallow out on you. If that happens, you may as well just throw the blank away. Alright, I just heard that we broke through the other side. Cut the drill press off. Get the plastic off of it. This is a self-centering vise for a drill press. I got this specifically for drilling turning blanks. And as you can see, we have a hole drilled perfectly straight through the center. And the reason I have this blank set so far down in here to where you can't see it up high like this is so that when the drill bit passes through the back side of the blank, it doesn't blow out the back of the acrylics. These are cut just a tad long, and even with the backer board, it's kind of hard for you to see that. It does chip out still. So that's one blank there. Let me get this roughly centered up again. Blow out the chips. I'm going to drop that in there. Alright, so all these look good. Got holes drilled perfectly the whole way through them, right on center. So now I will see y'all over at the lathe. Alright guys, we're back over here at the lathe now. And we're going to get started turning on this. This acrylic is a whole lot harder than wood. So we will attempt to start off with a roughing gouge. If not, we're going to try a few other things. I haven't turned very much acrylic, so we'll see how this goes. I've already verified that nothing will hit my tool rest. So we're going to start off trying to knock these corners. Get a little bit more speed on this. And I already tell that this is going to be one heck of a mess to clean up. So I'm going to try and go to this half-inch round carbide tool. Should have probably started with this one to begin with. Alright, that one's pretty good and round, so let's go on to this next one. That should be pretty good there. For the most part, it's still got a few flat spots. But we're looking good, so probably going to have the rest of this in high speed, and I'll get back to you when this is all shaped up. Alrighty. I believe that looks pretty good. As you can tell, I'm not used to turning acrylic. I'm not used to turning with carbide tools. I much rather turn wood and use traditional tools. But that said, I do like making stuff out of acrylic because it turns out really nice in the end. It's just a material that I haven't used a whole lot. So just takes time and practice to get used to it. So hopefully for too long I'll actually be somewhat proficient at it. Let's see here. Need to get a little cup of water or something going on. Let me go get my little box for it. If I can find out where my little box for it is. This will work here. So I just got a little 1 quart mixing cup, so I'm gonna pour some water into this and let that be good. And I'm gonna come down here to my drawer, and I have these rolls of sandpaper here, and I'm gonna start out with about 400 grit paper. If I can ever find the end of my roll of paper. And then after the 400, I'm going to move up to 600. So I'm going to let this soak in the paper I'm going to let the paper soak in the paper. Okay, Jeffrey, let's go. I'm going to let the paper soak in the water for a second. And I'm going to go ahead and let the next grit soak in the water for a second. I'm going to take and get some water on this, and we're going to do a wet sand. I'm going to turn the speed not way down, probably about 1500 RPM. And acrylics do not need much sanding at all. They really need more polishing. The sanding here with the 400 grit will actually eat away at this plastic a lot, and you can really help refine your shape, I found. So we'll go ahead, get this some more water on it. And with that little 1/2 inch round nose carbide tool, it's really hard to get a consistent, either nice round shape or a good flat spot. So just a little bit of easy shaping. Get some more water and rinse that off. And I'll come back to that one in a second after I hit this one. Now you might notice that this one here is a little bit more flat than this one up front, or I should say towards the tailstock. The one over here at the headstock is a little bit more flat, and that's the end that we're going to put the pocket clip on, and this will be the end where the tip of the pencil is. That way it'll give you something good for your hand to grab onto. I've noticed that with these Slimline kits, if you make this end flat and really slim, it makes it really hard to hold on to, especially if you have bigger hands, and it'll make your hands cramp up. And if you're going to go through the trouble of making one of these, you might as well have something that'll be really nice for you to use or for somebody else to use. I know this is kind of hard to see. I'm used to doing this by myself, so I still put my hand in front of the camera. I'll break that habit one of these days. Let's see. That's looking pretty good there with the 400. So we're going to move on up to the 600 grit now. And this will probably go into another time lapse. And once I finish with the 600 grit, I'm going to move on to some micro mesh. And I'll meet you here back at the end. Oh yeah, it's looking really good. So I'm probably going to cut this video here because it's getting kind of long. And I'll start a new one and get the micro mesh in here. Alrighty. So now that I got this all polished up, I'm going to go ahead and wipe off all the water. And you can tell that this really did polish up quite nicely with just the micro mesh. And micro mesh is essentially just sandpaper that goes all the way up from like 1,000 grit all the way up to about 12,000, 14,000 grit, something like that. Can't remember off the top of my head, but it's something like that. Get the water off my lathe. Man, I really should have put down a towel first before I did all that turning and polishing. So I'm going to take this other rag here, and I don't have any special like plastic polish or anything like that. I'll be honest with you. What I use is this. I got it from Harbor Freight for a few bucks, and it works really well for polishing up all of these acrylic turning blanks. And it's what I've used and have found that works the best so far. So I'm just going to get entirely too much on here. Let me grab another rag without all that on there. Set that one aside because somebody here is about to make a big mess. And that somebody is me. So I'm just going to massage this in for a minute at a low speed. This is roughly about 1,000-ish RPMs for right now. So that way I don't have polishing compound flung all over my shop. But as you can tell already, it doesn't take much for this stuff to actually go ahead and start working. And that's at a low speed and it's already put a little bit more polish on it. So I'm going to go ahead and crank speed up some, probably around, yeah, about 2,000 RPM, 2,200. And I'm going to reapply just a little bit more on here and find a nice new clean spot on my rag. And we'll buff this off with some speed. Another clean spot. And there we go. That's the acrylic all done and polished up. Get a few going that way. Get it nice and clean. And I got dust on me that's already clinging to the pen. So get this off the lathe now. Move this stuff around, get it out the way. Get my micro mesh set somewhere I won't lose it. I'll move my water out the way. And I'm going to go ahead and put this together and get this off the lathe. And I'll be back with y'all in a minute when it's done. Alrighty. You last saw when I was finishing up that camouflage pen, but I went ahead and turned the blue one as well. Well, not pen, pencil. But I think these turned out great. If you'd like to see more, stick around. I got plenty of other projects coming up. A lot more turning to do. Stay tuned.